everyone, and welcome. Welcome to today's episode, today's broadcast, today's session, whatever you want to call it, of Rise Tribe. I am definitely feeling a little bit more in my essence, a little bit more in my inner me, my inner being today. And if you're finding this live or on the replay, there's a good indicator that you are as well, and that's how you found your way to this video. So I just like to say, if we've never met before, my name is Chantel, and the Rise Tribe was born out of the last four letters of a beautiful surprise. It's a business that I started over 20 years ago. And right at the turn in the beginning of COVID in 2020, I felt this necessity, this need to create something for females. This was before the whole feminine rise and the divine feminine and everything else was like really, really activated like it is on the planet now. And so I created Rise Tribe, and Rise in homage to literally raising the vibration on the planet, beginning, here's the kicker, with self. So literally raising the vibration within ourselves will help it to trickle out into others, right? And to eventually literally raise the vibration of the planet. And I get so excited, so I start talking a little bit faster. And then quickly thereafter, about a year after starting Rise Tribe, I realized that we really needed masculine energy in the Rise Tribe as well. And so I opened it up, and we now have this beautiful dynamic. And even since then, I've opened it up publicly. So this used to be a paid for group, and it functioned a little bit differently, right? I did different teachings in that. And here now it's open up to the public. You can watch me on Rise Tribe and Facebook. You can watch me on YouTube as well. And I just come live every Monday and Friday at noon MST. Sometimes that time, it's like, I like to call it like the squishy middle, right? Where like sometimes the time is a little bit later, and sometimes it's a little bit earlier because I do travel quite a bit. And today I'm not traveling, but just with my schedule, it landed where I started 15 minutes a little bit later. So I'll always give a notice though when I do come live. All of that to say that if you have found this video, it's a really good indicator that you are also feeling either in alignment with yourself or a pull to become aligned with yourself. So let's talk about that for just a moment. What does that mean, right? Because it can feel very like woo-woo-y, kind of like esoteric kind of talk, but it's an actual scientific term as well. When what you are thinking and what you are feeling coincide with one another, when they relate and they're speaking the same language. And so we are very familiar with the brain that we have in our head, right? The brain that our thinking mind. We also have a brain in our heart. And it actually has more neurosynapses. It sends more signals to the brain in the head and the brain in the gut than the other two. So the brain in the gut also, that's the more instinctual, the intuition when we are in rest repose, to put it in like more of a biological term. Then the parts of the brainstem in the back of the neck can open up. You can be flooded with these kind of hormones that feel really good, and you can tap into your intuition. That's that gut response. Works on the other side of it as well. If you're in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, then everything shuts down, right? And you feel like, oh, I can't do anything. You start spinning. I teach about this stuff in really deep detail. It's a series that I teach. Sometimes I teach it in a 10-week series. Sometimes I teach it in a 6-week series. Actually, the first time I'm going to teach it in a 6-week series begins on 4/10, April 10th. So if that's something you've been watching me and kind of been curious about, there is still space in my group. There's actually still space in my one-on-one. So I've had people that have reached out. Actually, the only people that have reached out have wanted to do the one-on-one with me. So that's also on the table and open. If you'd like to know more information, then feel free to just reach out to me and we can have a discussion about it. So I will say this too. I come back and I look at all the comments. And so if you ever have a question, a comment, a concern, something you want to ask me that pertains to, anything that I teach, then feel free to do that here and I'll reach back out to you. So today of all days, I'm a little bit extra guac, right? A little bit extra sauce. And again, everything is energy. So whether you are watching me live right now or on the replay, there's something that moved you to this moment and to listen to me at 4 minutes and 38 seconds in. It's spring equinox, right? And spring equinox brings about new births. It brings about new beginnings. It's initiated in, especially because we're in the energy of the 1 month for March. And it's kind of like this, like the hands rubbing together and like, let's do this. Are we going to do this? Are we really going to do this? Right. So you can ask yourself, like, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to do all of the things that I dream about, the things that I fantasize about, the things that I wonder, is it even possible? Spring equinox also is the astrological new year, right? So just the way that the planets are all moving around the sun. And again, this isn't like woo-woo esoterical kind of stuff. This is just science, right? This is how we get our mathematical system. This is how we get literally how we build bridges, how we use quantum physics is through math that we can get from calculating where the sun sits in the sky relative to the other planets, right? Relative to the time of day, like all of that. Like this is what we're talking. So it's like it's not small potatoes. this is like this is legit. This is big stuff. And even if you like all of that doesn't make any sense, well, like what does it mean for me, right? You might be listening, like thinking like, but it doesn't feel like I have. Hmm. I want to back this up just a little bit. So the majority of people that begin working with me, the majority of my clients, they have all of their wants. They have a vast majority. I mean, obviously they have all of their needs, right? But they have all of their wants, and they have a vast majority of, what society might think is extra, right? This is a little bit like extra, extra. And what I mean by that is the boats, the fast cars, the things that we see in the tangible world where is of monetary value, right? And so a lot of my clients, they begin to have this nudge or this inner feeling that like I'm missing something because I have everything in the physical world. I have all of the accomplishments and the accolades, and I can go buy another boat, I can go buy, another trip, I can go buy another handbag or, designer shoes. As I say designer shoes because most of my clients also tend to be very masculine in nature as well. Lots of stuff is flowing through right now. But they know that that's not gonna satisfy them. They know that that's what they've been doing their whole lives, and they have been hustling and grinding and earning and achieving and having and doing and being, but there's this, like, just this sliver that lives within them, that they understand there's something else going on. There's something else going on in the unseen world, whatever you wanna coin that as, spiritual, divine, God, universe, source, whatever it might be. Like, there's just something else they can't quite put their finger on, but they feel like it's the thing, it's the edge. It's if I could just figure out what that is, that would help me to feel like I have come home to myself. That I realize that when I close my eyes at night and I go to sleep, that all of the things that I have, everything that I've collected out here in the world, everything that I can donate, everything that I can give is not satisfying, right? And they do a lot of that. They do a lot of the charity work in that. And it's not as satisfying. So there's something else. There's just something else. And I'm going to use the term that this person just wrote, and I apologize because it just says Facebook user. I woke up this morning feeling like a flower ready to bloom into spring. I felt momentum. That's 100% the energy that's in the air right now. And so I'm going to use that term of like a flower ready to bloom into spring. And so many of the clients that begin working with me, this is how they feel. They feel like they're a seed and that something is like ready to open. Something is just ready to germinate, right? I'm just ready for the soil to be like mixed in, and I'm ready for some rainwater, and I'm ready for some extra love and some conditioning in the sense of like the image that I got was like conditioning your hair, right? Where you're conditioning yourself to like fertilizer to prepare yourself to bloom. Ashley, it's Ashley. Hello, my love. So I love that. You felt like momentum. Did you make it to Pilates today as well? So yeah, that's exactly what the energy is of today. So not only do we have spring equinox, it's the beginning of the astrological new year. We're also really invited to show up in the physical world. It's the three of diamonds is represented today in quantum numerology. And so just like I asked Ashley if she made it to Pilates today, our physical bodies are the first manifestation of what's going on inside. So what you're thinking and what you're feeling, your body presents. So I love teaching Pilates. It's another leg of what I do in all of my teachings because it goes from the outside in, right? I do connective tissue therapy. That's from the outside in. But when we move energy, when we understand how to tap into what it is that you really desire, and that's what I was getting at with like the ideal clients that I work with, the ideal people that understand that thing that I can't quite put my finger on. This is what I read. I read your spiritual code. You have a spiritual DNA that maps out your life, that literally says, today on March 20th, 2023, you're going to experience this type of energy. Right. And of course, that's overlapped with the universal energies. And so when you can see that, it's just like reading your physical DNA. When I see that I have, this genome that can be expressed or this genome that can be turned off, and I understand the string of DNA that presents me as in my physical body, I also have a spiritual DNA. You can literally read the map to your life. Let's like cheers to that. I feel like it's really loud when I put the cup down. So everything manifests physically. And I've done this my entire life where things will come up through the throat. It's the throat chakra, right? This is, are we speaking our truth? Are we hearing our truth? Are we willing to hear our truth? And are we willing to speak our truth? And so as I say that you have a spiritual code, you have a DNA that reads. Literally, we can read that together. I can read that and I can share it with you. And we sit down and we look at it, we map it out, and we literally see where you are in your season of life. We literally see who you are before the world, society, your parents, your children, your partner, your boss, your business coaches, all of them told you who to be. That's the thing. That's the thing that so many people, when they begin working with me, you can feel that like there's just this thing, like I could put my thumb on it. There's this sliver almost like it's inside of me. Like if I just crack the door open a little bit more, I'll see the light. And unfortunately, many of us, and I've done this in the past too, we tend to keep looking for the thing on the outside of us, right? We tend to look for the new trending diet or the new business coach that has the new ideas on how to go viral and all of these things that I've done in the like years and years and years ago in the past. But there's things that we do where we think like it's going to be the thing that gets us what we desire. It's going to be the thing to fulfill that coming home to myself, but it won't because it's something on the outside of you. And so that is my job, is to get you to see and read this code, to be able to understand for yourself, to be able to not only regulate your own nervous system, which is the physical body, but to go inside, to go to the spiritual side, the vibrational essence of who you are, who you be. This brings up a quick little rabbit trail that I want to take for just a moment. So years ago, my girls are a little bit older now. They're 9 and 11. And well, she's almost 9. Next month, she announces every day. She's got like 60 something days before she's 9. She's 8, and then my 11-year-old. And we were driving home one day, and the littler one, she was maybe 2 or 3, maybe a little bit older. And she said, Mama, where's God? Right? Because we live in this really interesting dynamic. We live in Utah. And so we've got many different religions that are all around us. So she hears things from her grandparents, from her friends at school. She started school when she was 2 years old. She started preschool. And then she hears me and she hears the way that, I speak and I believe. And she said, where's God? Like, is this magical heaven where God exists, where we're all trying to get into? And she didn't say it that way, but that's what she meant. Like, that's where when we die, we get to go to, right? We had our dog Diesel that had passed away as Diesel in heaven. And so I said, baby, close your eyes, right? I'm driving. I said, close your eyes. And I said, imagine, let's just do this together. I'm going to do this with you as long as you're in a safe place to do so. And I said, imagine a beautiful green tree in front of you. Right? Now imagine that green tree begins to make a really specific sound, almost like coins when they begin to jingle next to each other. And all of a sudden, the leaves turn into coins, pennies and their nickels and their dimes, and they're jingling all together. And imagine the coins begin to fall on the ground. Now imagine that where the leaves used to be and the coins were falling onto the ground, that big golden bells are being born and grown on this tree. Now imagine the trunk turns purple. and the purple gets darker and darker and darker and darker. And that's all. And then you can slowly open your eyes, right? And this wasn't exactly what I guided her through, but it was something very similar. And I said, that's God. Your ability to envision, your ability to guide your consciousness in the direction that you would desire it to go, that is God. So God is the universal law of one. God is source. It is universe. It is the all. It is everything. It is all encompassing. And God isn't something that we are seeking or we're searching for on the outside of us. We are God. And I don't mean that in the sense of like, I am a God. I mean that in the sense of, Einstein's theory of spooky theorem that we're all interconnected, right? It's been since proven that we are like the butterfly effect, that we are all literally connected. Anatomically, we are connected. And we know as humans, our brains, when we think of something, our brains automatically go to the past. It has a memory that it can pull up and say, okay, this is what we can pull from, right? Those are those patterns that in the brain, the way that it's conditioned to know what to do. I usually describe this to clients like, well, when you go to walk to a door, the first time you've opened a door, you understand how to do that, right? There's a reason why our brains work this way. Imagine having to relearn how to open a door, how to, do literally anything. There's a reason why the brain works in the pattern state that it does. But the ability to see a tree and then envision it turning into coins and envisioning the coins falling to the ground and then envisioning it becoming big bells and then the trunk turning purple, right? That's not a memory. That's the ability to vision. You're tapping into a different part of the brain that usually sits idle, that waits for you to guide it, to awaken it. And so if you're someone that does vision boards or visualizations, this is where like you want to be very careful because are you envisioning what you really desire to bring into your life, right? This is why also if you're worrying about something that could happen, you're literally envisioning it. You are manifesting it. And so as I was guiding her, it seems like that it's harmless to think of a purple trunk of the tree, right? But look at how this conditioning can happen all over the world. It's happening in our school system. It's happening in our government system. It's happening on the news. It's happening in so many ways that we are subtly and overtly and directly out in the open being conditioned to believe. And when we're told so many times over and over and over and over and over again, we tend to believe it. And so I know I'm going kind of all different directions here in this this session. I want to call it a teaching a little bit, but it's a session, right? This dialogue, because it brings me back to like what Ashley said. I woke up this morning feeling like a flower ready to bloom into spring. And so here's the idea, right? Here's the idea to hold on to that seed and to know like which flower am I? Because my mom's told me I'm one type of flower and my partner's told me I'm another kind and my kids and my again like all of the things and the associations that you have with like the people in the world and society. But who are you? Right? Who you are, again, is that spiritual DNA. It is coded in you. It is who you are and who you be before you ever enter this body. And then you express physically in the world. So if you want to see if you're living in alignment with your true self, your higher self, look at how you feel in your body. Look at what's manifesting physically. Do you have body pains? Do you have diseases that are coming up? Do you have, you know, I mean, like aches and pains or accidents, right? Like things like trips and falls. And they're not, literally nothing is haphazard. Literally nothing. Diseases can present in the body. We know that certain diseases can express because of the genes that can be expressed because of the way that the gene expresses, and this is a super simplified way of saying it, but it's our environment, right? And our environment comes back to the way that we've been thinking, we've been feeling. It's whether you're allowing it to be expressed or not to be expressed. And it is radical effing self-responsibility when we think of it that way. And again, my favorite quote by Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better and you know better. If you are finding this video and you're hearing my voice right now, you know better. You know it's come down to self-responsibility. That now is the time for me to say, who am I really? Right? What kind of flower am I? I can feel this seed. I can feel the momentum. I can feel myself, right? So it's a little bit of that, like just dig a little bit deeper, like plant the seed a little bit deeper. Right? We don't see the flower expressed just yet. Like push the seedling down just a little bit deeper, water a little bit more, fertilize it, let it have some more sun, like let it germinate, let you come back home to you, and then allow yourself to sprout, allow yourself to take root, allow yourself to then come up out of the ground. Because then what happens when you do the inner work, when you do the energetic work, when you do the work to regulate your nervous system, what happens is that no matter what pops up out of the ground, whatever kind of flower like bursts forward, if it's something that you've been told not to be your whole life or not, it doesn't matter. All of a sudden, everything that you believe about yourself matters more than anything else anyone could ever say or do or believe about you or impress upon you. And that's the purpose of life. That's the whole journey, is for you to come here and to remember what kind of seedling you are, to remember who you truly are, and to express as that, to express as that purpose. Something I used to say and I used to think, and I actually came up for me recently and about a week ago. I have lived lifetimes, thousands and thousands of lifetimes to get to this point, to be this aware of who I am. And who I am is not what you see or what you hear. Who I am is the essence of me. Who I am is, even if the words I'm speaking right now doesn't make any sense, but you feel like, yeah, I kind of digging this. Like I'm grooving with this. I understand. Not mentally, maybe, but I understand there's a pull to this, right? And I'll be damned. I'll be damned if I'm going to redo it. I have lived so many lifetimes to get to this awareness, to not speak my truth. So many times in my life, I have lost my voice because I wasn't speaking my truth, because I was afraid to speak up, because I was afraid of being judged, because I was afraid of not being welcome, because I was afraid of, all of the subtle ways. Like I'm thinking of a sixth grade birthday party where I felt like I wasn't welcome. It's a subtle way, to the big ways where I'm not going to be able to build my business. I'm not going to be able to feed my family. Like all of those things, like right, they can come up because we can feel like we're not going to be allowed into the community, right? It's literally in our DNA also. Like we've been shunned, right? I can't tell you how many times I think to myself, and I giggle just a little bit, like, if this was 400 years ago, I for sure would be strung up like to a tree and burned alive, called a witch. And so it's funny, but it's not funny. It's funny, but it's self-responsibility now. And again, I know if you're hearing the sound of my voice, it's your time. It's your time to take the responsibility and to say, this isn't even just about putting me first. This isn't even just about like putting my oxygen mask on first. This is about me truly living in alignment with me stepping into my purpose, me understanding that I have a reason why I was born in this body, in this lifetime. And I'll be damned if I'm going to not fully step into it, and permission to forgive myself for all of the days before that I never really understood this, but I understand it now. And here's the line in the sand. And by God, whether you're listening to me right now or any time in the future, the energy is carried from today, of March 20th, 2023, of spring equinox, of the astrological new year, of the three diamonds, that says in this physical world, like we decided to come to Earth with 8 billion other people on a very tangible planet, right? So let's do this. Again, it comes back to the rub. Let's rub our hands together and say, let's do this. Let's do this thing where I get to manifest in the world that I really desire. Mm, mm, mm. Right? Can I get an amen? Can I get an omen? Can I get an om? Let's do this. Three of Diamonds asks you to step forward to create abundance for your life, to truly live in the way that you desire. It's the energy that's being held today, and it's the energy that will be build up even more momentum as we move through all of the energies universally. So it's kind of go time. And if you know me personally, you know that I use the word kind of when I mean like wholeheartily, without a doubt, to the depths of my soul. F and A, let's go time. That's what kind of means to me. It's kind of go time. Are you going to do this? Are you going to allow excuses and procrastination and frustration and doubt and the fear of not getting it right? Are you going to let all of that be bigger? You're going to let it be bigger than your purpose, than your essence, than your soul. And at any time, you need to remember the God in you. You can close your eyes and you can envision something that you've never envisioned before. That's the God in you that's pulling you forward, right? There's not some magical God in the sky that you get to go to when you leave this body and that you get to knock on the door. And because you were a good enough little girl or a good enough little boy or a good enough little person, that you were allowed in. And it can feel like a little bit of a harsh truth, but it's the truth. And so, your truth, your time to be you, to step into your essence, to let your heart and mind speak to one another, for you to come home to you in this lifetime, so that when you do leave this body, when you do step into the next, it does feel like heaven. And let's bring it back. Like every single day, I feel like I'm living in heaven. I feel like whatever I did in the past life got me to this one, it got me to this awareness. This is heaven. Again, heaven isn't some magical place that you get to go to for being good. Heaven is a state of mind, it's a state of being, it's an awareness. It's traveling through divine timing and living in the body and the relationships and the experiences, which includes tangible things, right? And it includes like there is a wealth code, there is a wealth as a frequency that travels and flows through us. It doesn't have to do with like what you have stacked numerologically in the bank. It has to do with your ability to understand your own wealth, your own divine will, and to allow that frequency to move through you. Literally, it moves through you from the back through the front. You receive it and then you move it back out. So this feels complete. Again, I'm going to bring this back to if you are interested, if you're feeling pulled to jump into my teaching, it is a paid for program, conditioning, all of the things. Like even when I hear that, like it's life changing. What I teach you is how to become empowered within yourself, to not have to look for another coach or I say this all the time, but as a Reiki master, as an advanced EFT practitioner, to not have to do the modalities, right? So if you're someone who like has to go schedule a session to feel better, to go sit with your guides or sit with your shamans or whatever, that's beautiful. And yes, I do the same. But what I teach you is how to come home to yourself, right? That's like extra icing, it's extra sprinkles on top. I'm not doing it to feel better in the moment and then I get dragged back down. And this is what I teach my clients. I teach you how to come home to yourself, how to do this for your own self so that you're not always seeking for someone, something on the outside of you to tell you that you're good, to tell you, to help you to feel better. So I teach you this in, a life changing, life up leveling series. And we take it step by step. And you have access to me in the group every single day as we walk through this side by side. You also have lifetime access because I come back and I teach this all the time. So, again, it is a paid for series. If this is something that you are interested in, then feel free. You could leave a comment here. You could also send me a direct message and I can reach out to you and give you the details. But we start on 410 on April 10th, the decision. When you make the decision, that's when everything starts to shift and change, right? Even though we start technically on 410, that's technically the essence of you, the vibration, you begin to shift and change immediately as soon as you make the decision. So, all right, everyone, have an amazing day. Have an amazing, oh my gosh, happy new year, happy spring equinox, happy Three of Diamonds day. And let's do this, right? Let's do this together. Let's raise our own vibration in order to raise the vibration of the universe. I feel like I want to say that again. Raising your own vibration to raise the vibration of the universe. I love you. I see you. And I am so freaking excited to see you soon.